Economic Community Development and Jobs Committee. Welcome. We have a quorum. Mr. Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Councilmember Price.
Here.
Councilmember Soto Martinez, absent. Councilmember McOsker.
Here.
Councilmember Yaroslavsky, absent. Councilmember Padilla.
Present.
3 members and a quorum, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Before we go into public comment, let me just identify the items I'm going to be proposing for consent, members. Items 2, which is a CLA report regarding a hotel agreement. Item 3, a report regarding the Wilshire bid. Item 4 is another report regarding the Los Feliz bid. 5, propose we take 5 on consent, which is another report establishing the LA Tourism Marketing District, Business Improvement District. Item 7, a report on the multi-year workforce plan. Item 9, which is a citywide security measure program. And item 11, relative to establishing a transportation and technology innovation zone in Council District 3. Those items I'm going to propose we go on consent at the appropriate time, but at this time we're going to take public comment. Mr. Clerk, you want to read some directions?
I would defer to the
Mr.
city
Chair,
attorney.
may I ask a question first?
Yes, you may.
One of our discussion items is item 10. I'm going to have a substantive amendment to item 10, which is my original motion. Should I read that into the record before public comment?
You can do that.
I would like to do that. Thank you. Please do so. Thank you, sir. So in addition, with no deletions from item 10, we would add the following clause. I further move that the City Council request the Office of Petroleum and Natural Gas Administration, with assistance from the Los Angeles Bureau of Sanitation Citywide Brownfields Program and input from the Department of City Planning and the Port of Los Angeles, to include information and an analysis on an adjacent parcel, the Rancho LPG tanks, in the closure report. This should include a roadmap for abatement and closure of the use, including a timeline for remediation of the site. I would ask for a second.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
Okay, we will, anything else? We're going to then proceed with public comment. Mr. Clerk, any directions?
I would defer to the city attorney for the directions, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Members of the public wishing to give public comment, you can sign up at the kiosk in the back. You'll be given up to 1 minute per item on the agenda, for a total of up to 2 minutes for 2 or more agenda items.
Okay, let me invite the following to come up, please. No particular order: Veronica Wilson, Norman Rogers, Mike Greenspan, Michael Shillstone, Manny Salcido, Juan Munoz, Aldutila, and Goat. Please join us. State your name, and you'll have 2 minutes.
Oh, great. Good afternoon, Chair and Council members. My name is Veronica Wilson. I'm here to comment on item 10, Councilmember McOsker's motion. I will make it quick since the time is short. I'm here to ensure that there is a consideration of advancing the principles stated in the motion of just transition with respect to the refinery closure. And I would want city leaders to develop a transition plan with workers and communities as stakeholders. Establishing groups on workers, financing, and land use will be essential in this process. The Los Angeles City and County Just Transition Task Force is one example that brings together representatives of workers, industry, and community to discuss impacts of ending industry operations and opportunity for planning discussions grounded in the values of just transition. Key areas of discussion are supporting workers who will lose their employment, and communities that will lose local revenues for services that will need to expand in times of transition. I'm looking at the clock, and I don't know if I have another minute, but thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for your comments. Next, please.
Good afternoon. My name's Norman Rogers. I'm with USW Local 675, and I'm here to address item 10. By way of example, I see you moving into the neighborhood. I see it's 11 o'clock at night. You finally get all your stuff moved in. Next morning, I come over, and my best dish is a meatloaf, and I offer you a meatloaf, and it turns out you're a vegetarian. There's a bit of an issue there. I say that to lead to the point that those that need help or assistance, that we have them involved in the process. So we're not offering help they don't need. And the best way to do that for this situation at the refinery is that our workers, the subject matter experts that run the facility, are there through the closure, in the decommissioning, to see that everything happens the way it needs to happen, that it's done safely. And then also, there's that distinction between workers in the community. A lot of our folks that work there are community members. And so there's that extra vested interest. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon, Michael Schlichten with Central City Association speaking on item 2. We're strong supporters of the South Park Towers project and the use of the TOT incentives to make this project happen. This development is a welcome addition to our city skyline that will bring 250 housing units, 300 hotel rooms, and over 13,000 square feet of retail and commercial space to the fastest growing part of our city. It would complement Venice Hope Park across the street and allow people to live close to where they work with nearby employment centers like the California Hospital Medical Center. Additionally, it would further the city's economic development objective of building hotels within walking distance of the convention center, adding hundreds of new rooms just a block away. Jade is also a proven, committed downtown community stakeholder that has built multiple projects with hundreds of housing units and thousands of square feet of active retail space across downtown. We're excited for this next edition and urge your support for the project and the necessary TOT incentives. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Honorable Chair Price and members. My name is Juan Munoz, and I'm with Unite Here Local 11, representing over 20,000 workers in the hospitality and food service industries here in Los Angeles. Our union fights for housing, particularly rental housing and affordable housing, and has long advocated for the use of hotels as emergency housing for unhoused Angelenos. For these reasons, we support the proposed South Park Towers project. The proposed South Park Towers project will bring 250 units of rental housing to downtown Los Angeles, together with a 300-room hotel, creating the possibility for workers to both live and work in downtown Los Angeles. As part of its proposed hotel incentive agreement, the hotel has committed to allow the hotel to be used during emergencies, including future pandemics, God forbid, for temporary housing. We hope other projects follow this model. The project is also is in an area well served by transit. It is located minutes away from many transit options. Employees and residents at this project will be able to more easily rely on transit. Please support this item so that this project can come to fruition. Thank you.
Thank you.
I get 2 minutes, right? 2 minutes. 2 minutes, right?
Yes.
Which items are you here to speak on, sir?
All items. Okay. Mike Greenspan, UCLA football sucks dick, like this one. Everybody. Yes. Okay. Another thing sucks dick is item 1. Yeah, like this one. I've mentioned the idea about sidewalk vending. This is not the first time. I don't have any problems with sidewalk vending. I have problems with sidewalks not wide enough. We widen roads. Why don't we widen sidewalks? Boo on me. I want to actually take away a street parking space if that's what it takes, because I heard that report at Board of Public Works that we're going to lessen the 5 feet for pedestrians down to 3 feet. That sucks a dick. Well, that's why I really have some strong opinions on that. If you're going to have sidewalk vending, make it to where people can do on the sidewalk as pedestrians and walk through and not go shopping. It's not Bloomingdale's, it's not Ralph's, it's a sidewalk for people to walk on. Now, let's go look at, what's this thing? A technology innovation zone. Has everything left Warner Center? Now we're begging for stuff out there? I mean, after all, businesses are leaving California, corporations are leaving California. Bye-bye. They're voting with their feet. They're going to Georgia and Texas and Florida and Nevada and Arizona, anywhere but California. So, and we have security measures, number 9, to help prevent property crime. It's real simple, folks. Buy a gun. Yeah. With a 357 Magnum or with a Beretta or something, you can definitely make your property safe. And I just want to wish Mr. Price the best on his new job making license plates.
Okay, next, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Manny Salcido. I'm a representative for the Western States Carpenters Union with 90,000 members in 12 states, 36,000 right here in Southern California, many here in Los Angeles County. I'm here in support of item number 2, Downtown LA South Park Towers project. We're grateful and honored to team up with a responsible developer like Jade Enterprises, who shares many of our common goals by hiring from the community and hiring a safe, good, and responsible contractor that has a commitment to the community to create jobs that would provide much needed housing, good jobs, good paying jobs with middle class wages and good benefits. These are the type of jobs that could start a new career for many Angelenos here. As we all know, not everybody goes to college. So a state accredited apprenticeship program with the carpenters is a learn why you earn program. We ask that you support this project.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
2 minutes. So number 2, we got here CD14. Wow, that's Kevin De Leon. Kevin De Leon. He just got his ass kicked out of his office. Not by indictment, not by prosecution, but by some little lady. The little lady beat him. How come Imelda ain't standing up for her paisano and continue item 2 to let Isabel Jurado look at this and see if she agrees? How come over there McOsker is so racist? He won't let the minority lady look at number 2 first before they fucking pass it. So you gonna pass it before the turkey, before this woman gets her goddamn butt in that seat. You ain't giving her a chance. How much did Kevin get in campaign donations to slide this sneaky ass project onto this agenda today? How much did Kern Price get? How much he getting? What kind of favor he gonna get? This is absolutely atrocious, and shame on Imelda, because when she came here as a new councilwoman, they treated her bad too, didn't they? So I say number 2 be deferred till after January 3rd, when they take and they put the new woman in, and let's see what the Democrat Socialist wants to do. In fact, let me call her right now. I'm going to talk to her. Isabel, yeah? What do you think about number 2? I'm a communist. I don't think I like it. Well, there you go. Now you can see she likes it. Then the union to simply pay her off too. That's what it is. Got to pay her off. They just had to file Form 700 and just list all the gifts. But you know what? Nobody in this council going to learn their lesson from yesterday. Remember, fill out your paperwork and go to prison.
Okay, any other speakers? Anybody else wish to make a comment?
Sign up.
Okay, well, now you may speak.
Thank you, sir. I'm glad. I was like getting nervous there. Okay. Good afternoon. I want to speak on a couple of items. So everything, I want the whole time, plus public comment. I want to start with number 1 about the parking and sidewalk and parking vending program. I want to put a vending, like a little market vending thing on L. Ron Hubbard Way, but I can't, okay, because there's all these illegal ADA non-compliant planters in the way. And so I can't put my vending, anything on L. Ron Hubbard Way. So if you could please clean it up, sir. And you're my favorite. I'm going to go to I'm going to go to your place to San Pedro, and I'm going to help run for you. But help me out, because he's the nicest one. He abides by the rules. You know, he's, and Miss, you know, she's not looking at me, but she's doing better. Like, I'm liking her more and more. But you will be my hero, sir, if I can do my vending at L. Ron Hubbard Way, you know, because, you know, if I can access the easement. Okay. The other one is number 10. And since I'm such a big fan of Mr. McCosker, I think it's, you know, I like it. I'm going to support, unless it's like really egregious, anything I'm really, really against, I'm going to say support anything that Mr. McCosker wants to do. Although I'm not real happy with Miss Yorovsky. I wish she was here because she's trying to get it where we can't protest. And so I don't want anyone coming against our First Amendments. They're already doing that in public works. And so I'm very upset with them. They're not on my Christmas card list this year either. And I'm still on my time. And so other than that, I want to say, you know, shout out to the unions. Jesus was a carpenter, you know, and I appreciate the unions. My family comes from a long line of unions. So thank you to the carpenters that build our world. And okay, I'm just going to let it time out. I'll just go to public comment. I am here because I want the easements opened up. Okay, I've been here time and time again. We all know what I want, or we all know why I'm here. It's no surprise.
Thank you, Speaker. Your time has expired.
I thought I had a minute. I had all 3 minutes. You had me at 2 minutes. I still have a minute for public comment.
2 minutes. There is no public comment. Today was a special meeting.
Oh,
Yeah.
no public comment.
You want to finish your comment? You want to finish your statement? You may finish your sentence.
Thank you, sir. I want you to please, 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 for Christmas, open up the easements on L. Ron Hubbard Way and Fountain.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Have a great weekend,
Thank you
everybody.
very much. Any other testimony? Anybody else wish to make any comments? Okay, we're going to close the public comment at this time. Members, I mentioned at the top of the meeting that I'm proposing that we take certain items on consent, specifically items 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 9, and 11, unless there is an objection.
No objection.
Objection? Okay, then we will take those on consent. That will be the order. First item.
Councilmember Price.
Yes. Aye.
Councilmember Soto Martinez, absent. Councilmember Yaroslavsky, absent. Councilmember Padilla.
Yes.
Councilmember McCosker. Yes. 3 ayes, and these items are approved.
Okay, thank you. Item number 1.
Item number 1 is a Board of Public Works report relative to revised rules and regulations for the sidewalk and park vending program.
Okay. Board of Public Works report recommending various changes to the city's rules and regs for sidewalk vending. Streets LA and the city attorney recommending these changes based on a recent statement. So can you give us a brief overview, a summary of what the rules and regs are that we're going to be amending regarding sidewalk vending? A little louder, yeah.
All right, can you hear me now?
It's still,
Thank you. So as you,
pull it close to you, yeah. All right, try.
can you hear me now? Okay. So as you mentioned, sir, these revisions are narrowly focused and needed in order to satisfy the terms of the settlement agreement for the community
Well,
power.
I'm sorry, back a little bit. Yeah. Yeah,
Is this okay now?
okay.
Okay. So these revisions are needed to satisfy the terms of the settlement agreement to the Community Power Collective lawsuit that the council and mayor approved this past August. Specifically, those revisions are to remove the specific named restricted vending zones, to remove the prohibition of sidewalk vending within 500 feet of all schools, kindergarten, elementary, and secondary schools within the city. We're also recommending to replace the 500-foot vending restriction for farmers markets, swap meets, and special event permit locations to a restriction of within the immediate vicinity of such events, which we interpret to mean adjacent. Fourth, we want to reduce the pedestrian passage requirement on sidewalks from 5 feet to 3 feet. And lastly, we would recommend to remove the blanket prohibition of vending adjacent to red curbs.
These are all changes pursuant to state law, correct? The pursuant to state law that's in now? these changes?
Yes. Well, largely for the settlement agreement, but
Okay.
maybe Mr. City Attorney can elaborate.
The changes are changes that the city agreed to make when we settled the collective, community collective state settlement, the lawsuit. The changes bring the rules and regulations more closely into the language of the state law. So they are driven for us to comply with state law.
Are we able to do any additional educational or outreach programs with vendors?
Well, once
What are we doing?
once the rules are finalized and adopted, we do plan to use some of the limited contract funding we received this fiscal year to promote the rule changes as far and our lowered permit fee as well.
So we are proposing a holiday from enforcement or?
Well, currently,
Limited
due to the
assistance.
state law and resource challenges, we're only investigating and enforcing violations of ADA compliance. Rule changes and vending without a permit, we are currently not enforcing. And
What about the economic assistance programs that we've been talking about? Helping vendors with permit assistance, cart purchases, et cetera. Have any of those programs kicked in yet?
I can, well, without answering the question, because I don't know the answer.
Why? Because
I
it's
think-
county?
Well, I think maybe what I might recommend, because we're here on the specific rule changes and we've agendized it for that. I think if you want, we'd be happy to help bring the Bureau back to answer a more broad set of questions concerning vending and outreach to vendors and the types of assistance programs I think that are of great interest to the council.
Okay. Well, can we just focus in on the settlement, in terms around the settlement? The terms around the settlement?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's focus on that.
Correct. Well, so these rule changes were specifically called for in the settlement, so that's what we're here for. Other parts of the settlement, the city is in the process of complying with those, including I believe it's the refund of citations paid and whatnot.
Mhm.
And it's a little bit beyond what we're
I know,
prepared to
today.
talk to in this committee.
Well, is there anything else you want this committee to know about the changes? Anything else we should know?
Well, yeah, I mean, at a
we
high
report.
level, these rule changes complete the process of removing all the no vending zone. The no vending zones that we called out specific areas, they've already been stricken from the city's ordinance. The city has not been enforcing those no vending zones. So in a sense, it's more of a housekeeping detail to ensure that the rules match the ordinance.
Okay. Members, any questions?
Yeah, I have a question. So I recognize that this was, today you came to give us more of an update on rules
Mhm.
and being in compliance, post the, getting sued by the city. And then they had a case because we were violating state law, correct?
We settled the case. We disputed the violation, but we thought it was in everybody's interest to settle the case, and that was what we did.
Okay, so my question is, has this inspired agencies like the county similar to us? Because what it's done for us is state law has moved us in a direction, to reduce no vending zones. But I'm curious if the county is now and other levels of government are now accepting the fact that this is part of the local economy. And therefore, the question is, what are they doing now? Like, we have opened up a desk in Van Nuys to increase accessibility so that the city of Los Angeles can have more places where vendors can come get their permit. Do you see that also happening with places like the county? Like, are they being more aggressive in helping them, for example, comply with health-based permits?
That's a good question. I'm not sure, although I have heard that the county has been working to help approve a food vending cart or something that would be,
Well, there is now rules related to a cart that is in compliance, and there is nonprofits that are helping them apply for grants to get these carts of compliance. In my district, one of the organizations that does it is Icon CDC. But what I want to know is, we as the city have done things to make it easier for them to get our permit, right? There's now a desk in Van Nuys Brody Center. I guess what I'm asking is, have you seen the county do something similar, like create a desk where it's easier to know the rules and the process to legalize yourself on the health permit component?
I have not seen.
No right or wrong answer. I'm just curious what you've learned.
I haven't. Our staff may have or have not.
I don't have information on that, unfortunately.
Okay. Oh, okay. That's the question. I did want to know, I noticed that there's new rules here related to placement and trash. Would it be possible for us to also make rules without violating any state laws related to also asking how we as the city or the vendor themselves can do something like power wash the site after usage?
We can certainly take a look at that. I know there's a broader effort to sort of reimagine how street vending is regulated in the city through, I think one of the council actions was looking at special vending zones. I think comprehensive rules along the lines of what you're talking about could certainly be something that would be, this could be the subject of future rules.
Okay. Did you say preferential vending zone?
Special vending districts.
Special
I think
vending.
there's one of the various council actions has asked the city to look into the formation of special vending zones.
Okay,
But
and
that's not this.
does that terminology though keep us away from potentially getting sued again for violating state law? Because my understanding is we got sued because we had no proper documentation that there was health or safety violations, right? That was like the case of the basis for this case. But if we do special, as you just mentioned, does that violate, or should we be more specific on semantics that won't get us in trouble again?
Well, the details of any potential future program we would look at very carefully to ensure that they are based on objective health and safety criteria, including doing any studies necessary to show that. So right now, there's nothing that's been asked for that we can categorically say, we can or cannot do. But anything that's done for future vending rules, we would look at very carefully, learning some of the lessons from this case that we've settled.
Okay, and how has have you been able to work with have you been in communication with the district related to the city no longer providing no vending zones postage?
I believe, I believe all of the vestiges of the no vending zones, including the signage about having no vending zones, I believe all of that has been removed. That was one of the things that was a key part of the settlement, and working with the plaintiffs. This rule change removes the last part of what we had as part of our no vending zones.
Okay, and then this is my last question, and if you wouldn't know the answer, I completely understand. Since opening up the Van Nuys desk at Marvin Brody and reducing the fee, have you seen more street vendors apply for their permit?
I defer to staff if they have that information.
So I don't have.
It's been a few months,
Yeah.
but
I don't have the specific stats for Van Nuys alone, but since we lowered the vending permit fee to $27, we've issued 420 total permits, 390 of which were merchandise and 30 of which were for food.
and this was beginning July, was it?
July 8th.
That's citywide or a certain area or what?
July 8th to through October 31st.
Citywide?
Citywide.
Yep, all the vending permits are citywide permits.
Okay, what's that rate of increase compared to before?
I don't have that data in front of me, but I can certainly work with your staff to report
Okay,
that.
and is the goal that we can, is that considered a success? Is that something you want to see more of?
Well, considering the estimated amount of vendors throughout the city, I think at the outset of the program, we estimated 50,000. That's less than 1%. And, it's illustrative of the difficulties in getting a county health permit. in order to vend food, in order to get a permit to vend food from the city, you need a county health permit. And it's still very difficult for vendors to get that.
I'll just add it's a good start, but
Right.
just a start.
Well, I think that's part of the education is making sure that they say the city is ready to start the conversation, because they would always, let's say you get a good 5,000, then it makes it easier for the city to then lobby the county to say, people want to join the formal sector, you just have to provide that space. And we are the test case as a city. So that's why I'm interested to know if reducing the fee increase those numbers, because then we have an argument to make.
We'll certainly report back.
Yeah, well, this is certainly just a start, but I'm going to propose that we come back in, say, 60 days with an update and a report back so we can kind of see how the changes are sinking in and how they're being monitored.
Certainly, again, like as I suggested, I think we could bring back a more comprehensive report, agendize it, have a comment. I would ask that the committee move these rule changes forward, and then in the future, bring back some of the more comprehensive vending discussion.
All right, good. Well, I'll entertain a motion that we approve the changes as recommended.
Councilmember Price.
Aye.
Councilmember Soto Martinez, absent. Councilmember Yaroslavsky, absent. Councilmember Padilla.
Yes.
Councilmember McCosker.
Yes.
3 ayes, and this item is approved.
Okay, thank you, members. Workforce Development Board appointments. This is a very important part of the process. The mayor has made some significant appointments. Let me invite any board members to come to the table. Either new or renewed appointees.
And for the record, Mr. Chair, item number 6 is the communication from the mayor relative to the appointments and reappointments of members to the Workforce Development Board. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, everybody grab a seat. We certainly appreciate your willingness to serve. If you could just take a minute, each of you share with us a little bit of your background and what your interest and goals are for this committee. You can, why don't you start?
So my name is Saba Hakeem. I'm here for the education seat. Oh, thank you. I'm here for the education seat. I am the director of the UCLA Labor Center. I have over 20 years of experience conducting research on labor and employment issues. I've worked on a range of industries from nail salon, restaurants, retail, construction, and so on. So I feel like I hold this vast view of the different industries and working conditions facing our workers today. At the Labor Center, we have a robust workers development program, really thinking about quality jobs, equity, making sure that we have strong career ladders and training. And so I am very excited to be considered for the board. I'm excited about the board, about the workforce development opportunities, just for young people, for our workers, and for Angelenos in general.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Kenya Kroom. I am being appointed to the Economic Development seat. I come with a background in urban planning and business management. I have about 20 years of experience as a nonprofit leader and in small business sector. What I want to lend to this work, I really want to advocate and support policy and support around small businesses, nonprofits, and really just closing the economic wealth gap in our city.
Okay, thank you.
Happy to be here.
Pull it up.
Thank you. My name is Bernadine Brandis. Thank you to all of you for having me here. I have worked for the Walt Disney Studios for almost 40 years. I'm applying for the business seat. I've been with Disney since it started out as a very sleepy little studio, and it grew a little bit. And I am an attorney. I've gone to UCLA undergrad and UCLA Law School, so I am definitely a Bruin, though I'm from San Francisco. So my heart is now down here clearly. Anything that's called work is really of interest to me. I think you can't have any self-respect until you do that. So I am excited to try to participate in working with outside resources, mentoring. I've seen a lot of recruiting. I've seen a lot of laying off. I work closely with my internal business partners as in finance. I have to deal with budgeting. I work closely with HR. And I have a lot of very strong outside relationships. So I feel that I could be of help in developing your outside partner relationships. I know what I know from reading about the board, but I certainly have a lot more to know. So anything you want to ask of me or where you see my skill set fitting in, I'm very, very open. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Lindsay Heiser. I oversee global philanthropy at Snap Inc., the makers of Snapchat, and specifically focus on our STEAM education career pathways for underrepresented youth in the city of Los Angeles. I've been doing that for just over 4 years with the company being able to build internal educational training programs, internships, and apprenticeships. Prior to this role, I was with the Los Angeles Area Chamber of Commerce, working specifically with Pixel Exchange to help with high school and community college dual enrollment to then get placement in the high growth, high wage sector of technology. So excited to take both my experience over the past 8 or 9 years and be able to bring it to this particular board opportunity.
President and CEO of CD Tech. We're a race equity community economic development organization in South Central Los Angeles. We've been around for 29 years. And I've been a previous commissioner for the city. And I've been asked to consider joining the board here because I could bring workforce and economic development knowledge, skill sets, and the relationships that we've been able to develop in the last 29 years in South LA, primarily focusing on underserved Black and Brown communities. I think the important thing that I will contribute is we've been organizing a lot of community-based organizations in South LA to make sure that we bring resources to the entire city of Los Angeles, primarily with communities that have been historically marginalized, federal, state, and county funding to the area. We've also been focused a lot on building the nonprofit sector as a workforce and economic development engine. As you know, it's the nonprofit sector that saved lives during COVID. It is also where the most rooted, marginalized populations get their resources, information, and services. And so if we look at nonprofits as they rightfully are, small businesses, we could transform them and transform the thinking of how we see them as pipelines to economic opportunity and community stability, and helping build leadership on the ground to replace ourselves as we're getting older. Replacing the pipeline is a critical part. So we currently have 100 paid internships between the work that we do at LA Trade Tech College and our Public Allies program, really trying to create the next generation of social justice nonprofit workers. So looking forward to working with everybody and helping bring ideas to the table that really push our thinking in ways that we really begin to address, as some of my colleagues said earlier, the income inequality gap here in the city of Los Angeles. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I want to thank you. All your willingness to serve is so very, very important. This is workforce development is critical for our city, especially for underdeveloped areas. So I just want to thank you all for the need to share your wisdom, your skills, your energy. There are about 30 members of the committee, divided between business, economic, community development, education, and labor. So it's an interesting cross section of skills. Any comments?
I completely agree. Thank you, Mr. Chair. What a great number of appointments. I really thank you so much for your expertise and your willingness to serve, from economic development to labor and education, nonprofit work, entrepreneurship, big business, philanthropy. Really, you really are a commanding set of folks to add to this effort. And I'm hoping with item 10, I'm going to give you a good piece of business to work on, which is going to be the just transition of the Phillips 66 facility. And your commission and your department are called out expressly in that. We're really counting on you. So thank you.
I too want to thank you all for your willingness to serve. I just kind of want to see some food for thought. You know, I do represent a district where we have one of the better delivering work source centers through El Proyecto del Barrio. And I just kind of wanted to ask, we can go maybe one by one, get like a short 30-second answer. How do you see yourself supporting the work source centers to fulfill their deliverables and build partners with local employers to find their workforce?
Thank you, Council Member, for that question. Well, at the Labor Center, one of our key priorities is to figure out tactics to get to underserved communities. So how can we figure out through our programs how we can reach people who often don't have access? We've evaluated multiple programs, how to get to maybe Black workers who have been left out of the labor market, how to get young folks. So we have a whole young worker program. And so our thing would be to kind of develop, like we do evaluation. So we look at best practices, importance of wraparound services, making sure we're thinking about language access, that we're thinking about childcare, that we're thinking about all the different needs that workers in these kinds of training programs need to be able to even participate in the job market.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I lead a nonprofit in South LA called A Step to Freedom. We do homeless housing. We do a lot of work around workforce development. And so through that work, we've partnered with CRCD and Pacific Gateway to work to kind of close the gaps that exist in finding work opportunities for the reentry population and mental health population. So I really want to continue doing that work. And I think that starts with understanding the needs of the employers, who they're really looking for, and how to cultivate those relationships with the community to both seek folks out and help them build the skill set that employers are hoping for.
Hi, thank you. Well, not only I think am I good at mentoring business, I've done a lot of that inside the company and outside the company. So if there's, as I gathered, there was some one-on-one kind of counseling, mentoring that goes on, and I'm not sure if it's at those centers or others. Again, I've tried to educate myself on your program. I also I'm the lead negotiator for the Disney Studio. I do believe I can take a sum of money, and I know the funds that you're allocated, and try to make educated decisions on where they should go for third-party partnerships and contact those partnerships and reach resolution that I think is efficient and economical, because I gather these funds need to go as far as they can.
My particular role is all around like exposure and awareness for young people. And so being able to have team members of ours volunteer for advisory boards, whether at the youth source centers, the work source centers, we've done a number of that within the community colleges as well and high schools. So being able to provide industry insight of what our teams are looking for internships or entry level roles, and being able to utilize the work that not only we're doing, but then again, as mentioned in previous roles, have pulled together a collective of other folks that are in both the tech and entertainment space to be able to kind of share some of those insights. Additionally, a big piece of it is the exposure. And so being able to invite young talent to snap into other campuses, to be able to shift from being a consumer of maybe using some of this technology and understanding you know, the folks that actually work at the company and allowing them to see themselves in those types of roles, and being able to provide like hands-on immersive experiences for them to learn, whether it's design, engineering, marketing, etc., and then have that tailwind of openings, whether it's our educational training programs, internships, and apprenticeships.
Thanks for the question. In my previous role, when the Economic Development Commission oversaw the work, and worked with staff to begin to develop better criteria for how we were evaluating the performance of workforce centers, identifying goals that were driven by impact, not just number counting or number crunching, but really what was the impact happening in the community. So I bring that experience, that legacy of transformation and somewhat of reform within that movement. Secondly, I think that the issue with workforce centers is we have to do a better job of doing recruitment and outreach and community engagement work. Most centers that are funded by city resources sometimes have a relationship where that's people have to seek them out as opposed to the centers seeking out residents. I think we have to have better intentionality as to where we're going to recruit and target populations that need access to good employment opportunities, good training. And then once again, the third thing I'd say is that the nonprofit sector has to be a key component of the workforce system and community. And I think that that's a critical piece of building a collaborative relationship and environment with the nonprofit sector that's already organized and where there's infrastructure. How are we plugging them into the workforce movement? I think that if we look at workforce centers as a movement, as opposed to a place where you can kind of go and sign up and get access to what's out there, I think would be better suited to really look at this as a call to action, as a kind of North Star focus of trying to bring intentional resources to communities that have been historically locked out or left out of employment opportunities. So I think we have to be really innovative and very collaborative, as some of the colleagues were saying. It's a multi-sector approach to this, but we have to really be innovative and think through on a higher plane as to what we're truly trying to do. What's the impact? What's the gap in LA to live? And how are we going to close that gap with the opportunities that the Workforce Center and other allied organizations can do possibly? So that's the way I would look at supporting the process.
Thank you all. No more questions.
I think the questions were good and the responses were good as well. I think it's clear that many of you recognize that it's possible to reimagine this workforce board. It's been around for a long time. It's been doing a lot of good stuff, but it needs to do some stuff differently. And so I think that you all have the kind of energy, enthusiasm, and willingness to explore those options and leverage limited resources in a way that can really make a difference. Any comments? Last comments?
No.
Okay, I'm going to move that we approve the recommendations.
Councilmember Price.
Aye.
Councilmember Soto Martinez, absent. Councilmember Yaroslavsky, absent. Councilmember Padilla.
Yes.
Councilmember McOsker.
Yes.
3 ayes, and this item is approved.
Okay, well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And don't let this be the last time you're here. We want to make sure that we're getting some good input from you. Yeah. All right. Mr. Clerk, what's next?
Item number 8 is a Economic and Workforce Development Department
Please
report
curb your enthusiasm.
relative to a grant award from the state of California, Office of the Governor's California Volunteers to provide transitional work and employment-based social services for city youth and young adults.
What number?
All right.
Eight.
Beginning is all here, gentlemen.
Good afternoon, council members. Gerardo Rubalcaba with the Economic and Workforce Development Department, and I'm joined.
Good afternoon, council members. Donnie Brooks, Economic Workforce Development Department. I'm the division director of the Workforce Development Division.
Speaking of workforce development, yes, go ahead.
So today we're presenting a report on the California for All Round 2 funding. So for a little bit of background, in 2002, the city was awarded $53.3 million from the California Office of the Governors to provide work experience to youth 16 to 30. This was part of a $150 million investment made by the governor into youth workforce development, one of the largest youth investments in at least a couple of decades. So through this program, really the Youth Core program, as it was called, had 3 main objectives. So one was to increase youth work experience, 2, to expose youth to career pathways, and then 3, to strengthen the city's capacity to deal with areas of food insecurity, climate change, and COVID recovery. So in a partnership with the mayor's office, the original project launched 16 programs across 6 city departments. Through that initiative, to date we have served almost 3,900 youth in different areas, so including education through Angelino Core and student to student. We've expanded services for homeless youth through our LA Rise Youth Academy, and expose youth to different career pathways through our City Pathways programs, just to name a few programs. So through round 2, the city has received an additional allocation of $20.8 million to serve 1,682 participants. Again, the recommendations contained in this report will fund 17 programs. They're outlined in attachment 2 of the transmittal. Additionally, we're requesting to continue 11 position exemptions from the original round 1 funding, as well as approving 3 new positions that will help support with the implementation of the program. Lastly, the report also contains recommendations to reallocate funding round 1. So round 1 has been extended. I think in the report we noted that the grant would end September 30th. The grant has actually been extended through December 31st. So with that, I will stop there and I can take any questions from the committee.
Just if you can just repeat this again, you spoke of it earlier, but what programs were funded in the first round that were either continued or discontinued, or what was the result of our review of the first round?
Yeah. And again, there are 16 programs funded through round 1 of the program. So I'll go through some of the list. So Angelino Corps was a program that provided a 10-month internship with community-based organizations in different sectors. We had City Pathways, which provided internships with city departments. So this exposed community college students to internships across a number of different city departments, including EWDD and a number of participating departments. We had a City Pathways program that was focused on rec and parks. So these youth worked directly with opportunities within the park system. Clean LA partnered with our Office of Community Beautification to provide, again, cleaning services and community beautification services across the city. Digital Ambassadors worked with HACLA residents to connect higher youth to provide digital literacy programming for residents. Early childhood education, student advancement worked with community college students in the early child education field, providing mentorship and other training services. LA Community Composting, Food Recovery, which was operated by Public Works. I have to admit, this is not our program. I can't describe the details on this. LA Rise Youth Academy is a program that was an expansion of our LA Rise model, in that it worked with youth that were either homeless or at risk of homelessness, and provided transitional employment and other educational services to reconnect homeless youth to the workforce. LA River Rangers provided work experience doing cleanup work around the LA River. The Operation Flame Wildland Firefighting Training Academy, again, provided training experience in that field. We had Student to Student, which hired youth to provide tutoring services to siblings within their households. This was a program coming out of that recovery where there's educational attainment loss, right, during the pandemic. So this was a critical COVID recovery program. Summer Night Lights, again, worked with Rec and Parks, providing a work experience to youth. Teen Parent Prosper was another one focused on teen parents. And then Youth and Community Harvest focused on food insecurity issues.
Well, I think this committee would like to get maybe a mid-year report on how these programs are going and how funds can be reallocated if necessary. I don't know if there's a mid-year shift that takes place in some of these programs, but it sounds like it's an opportunity to review how effective they are and how successful they are.
Yes. So we are closing out the first round. So the grant the round 1 expires December 30th. There was an original evaluation of the grant, so it did look at the implementation of the programs across the city. I know some of the recommendations were considered as we looked at round 2. But definitely there's, we're always evaluating and looking at opportunities for improvement.
Good. Okay, members, any comments? Councilwoman?
Yeah, I just, correct me if I'm wrong, but how do you define youth via age?
Through this grant, it's defined differently than our traditional youth work experience programs. So most of our youth work experience programs run from 14 to 24. This program, the range was 18 to 30. So it did allow us to serve an older population than is traditionally served through our youth programming.
Okay, and then
And
Is
sorry,
there-
just
what I'm not seeing in this report, unless there's something that maybe just wasn't printed and put in front of me, is how the different allocation to these different programs fulfill the deliverable of your focus that you mentioned related to food insecurity, climate, and COVID recovery. Would you be able to elaborate shortly on how these accomplish that?
Yeah, so the transmittal does include two different reports. The attachment 1 provides a description of each of the 17 programs that are funded, including both the goal for each program as well as the funding. And then transmittal, the attachment 2 by program also includes all of the service providers funded under each initiative. We did not categorize it in the manner, I think that, at least funding-wise, in the manner that you described, but we do, I think, in our report, I'm sorry, give me a second. In our report, our page 13 of our report, we did summarize the projects, and 7 were public service projects, 3 education projects, 2 were climate emergency response projects, 2 are food and security projects, and 1 is an education outreach and recruitment project. And that is included in page 13 of the report.
Okay, I see that. What do you mean by public service projects?
It ranges, so like there's a number of, water, Don, if you want to, we define that in here?
Good.
So we do include, like, as I mentioned, like City Pathways program, for example, which provides internship opportunities with the city government. We have like LA River Rangers, for example, that also does like cleanup work around the LA River. The Clean LA, again, does cleaning around the city through the Office of Community Beautification program.
So
Those are just 3
all of
examples.
the programs are giving, career exposure, internship opportunities. Youth are able to earn wages and stipends, so it's tremendous in terms of just putting income in individuals' pockets as they gain invaluable work experience, and there's pathways to city government opportunities.
Okay. Well, like I said, I think it'd be good if you can come back in maybe 6 months, give us an update on where we are. See if it's possible to reprogram some funds that haven't been used or allocated in a way that's different. Okay, I'm recommending, members, that we approve the recommendation as presented for this item.
Councilmember Price.
Aye.
Councilmember Soto Martinez, absent. Councilmember Yaroslavsky, absent. Councilmember Padilla.
Yes.
Councilmember McCosker.
Yes.
3 ayes, and this item is approved.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay, last up, item 10.
Thank you so much. Oh, you should read it in the record.
Hold
before
on,
I speak.
let him read it first.
Item number 10 is a motion, McCosker, Yaroslavsky, Krikorian, relative to the workers affected by the Phillips 66 refinery closure in Los Angeles. Next steps for remediation and reuse of the site with a timeline and cost estimates and personal needs to assess cleanup and revitalization potential impacts on site and related matters.
Okay, Mr. McCosker, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair and members. This motion relates to the recent announcement that Phillips 66 is going to leave California. There are over 300 acres of refining land in the city of Los Angeles, connected by pipeline. Is another couple hundred acres in the city of Carson. And there are, I'm sure, a myriad of reasons that we could analyze as to why they're leaving. But what's important here, first and foremost, is that there are great jobs and families that are supported for generations by this work of refining in the port area. At least 600 jobs directly in my community, and a number of jobs that are in tangent to that support the operations, that do consulting work, that support support all the operations of these great workers. I really want to thank Norman Rogers from USW for coming. The USW organizes and represents most of these workers. And I also want to thank Veronica Wilson for being here. So appreciate you from the Labor Network for Sustainability and UCLA Labor Center. So it is a moment where we need to reflect that it's critically important that we put some walk behind the talk of just transitions. And so I'm so appreciative that we have the great appointees to the commission and that EWDD is here. It's imperative that I know that EWDD has already reached out even before this motion came, and I appreciate that. It's going to be imperative that we reach out to our partners, the county and the state, and we have everybody lean in on making sure that we're working directly with the unions, directly with the workers themselves, and with the employer, because there will be some folks that want to reposition themselves within the company, I'm quite sure. There's a lot of pride in that work. There's going to be folks that want to reposition themselves with some of the other refining operations in the area. And there might be folks that take the opportunity to upskill, rescale to other good jobs. And so we begin with that. The most important thing is that we're protecting the local economy and protecting those families and those workers. And so I see all the heads nodding, so I really, really appreciate that we're all in this together. Secondly, the motion also indicates that it's vitally important that we take a look at this over 300 acres and see what it can become, because what it can become is a great place for the future generations of great jobs. And so we're going to work together on that. I have added an amendment, members, today that only pertains to a small set of acreage that is immediately adjacent to this property. And it is under separate ownership, and it is owned by Rancho LPG. And there are 2 tanks there, and those 2 tanks are something that have been the subject of a number of amendments, a number of motions and actions over time. There are 2 12,500 million gallons of capacity that are holding butane, and they are closest to residential neighborhoods that adjoin this entire set of parcels. I would like to see a closure report and an analysis of what it would take to abate and close that use. I think that if in fact we are going to see that 300 acres on the city side become something new and something that works to the benefit of the community and creates jobs, I think this last parcel should be part of that. So again, I'll come back to the most important thing is that we're working with EWDD and our partners to make sure that we're protecting jobs and careers and livelihoods. And I'm really grateful, again, to Veronica and to everyone else who was here who were part of this. But I think it's also important to make sure that we are looking at what it takes to clean the property, which is also great jobs, by the way. That cleaning the property, I'm really eager to see how the owners are going to work with us to make sure those are good, solid union jobs where the workers can take pride in their work and do something good for future generations, and then how this property can be repurposed also to create jobs in the future. So I urge your aye vote, and thank you for my short soliloquy.
Okay. Any other comments, Councilwoman? Okay. I will move we approve this. Thank you. I'll move that we approve this as the amendment and the motion as presented.
Thank you.
Councilmember Price.
Aye.
Councilmember Soto Martinez, absent. Councilmember Yaroslavsky, absent. Councilmember Padilla.
Yes.
Councilmember McOsker.
Yes.
3 ayes, and this item is approved as amended.
Okay, what else is before us at this time?
The desk is clear, Mr. Chair.
Clear? This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.